This is the Iowa Weather Report for Sunday, March 23rd, 2014. And now our first look at the 0Z GFS model run. So at 1 p.m. this afternoon, we have a trough digging in across the middle part of the country again. Some energy moving off to our east across the Great Lakes into the northeast. Another piece of energy coming down across the northern Rockies. And we could see some lake effect snow showers in the Great Lakes. A little bit of rain activity across the Gulf Coast into the Carolinas, maybe a little bit of snow up in the mountains in West Virginia. And a system coming into Montana is one that's going to come through here on Monday. This could bring us some accumulating snow. 1 to 3 inches looks to be a good general amount, maybe a little more in some areas, a lot less in some areas. This storm will pull off to the east on Tuesday, and the trough will dig in further. It'll start a coastal low, or develop a coastal low off the Carolina coast. It's going to be fairly cold on Tuesday with highs in the upper 20s to mid upper 30s, but then that system over off the Carolina coast then bombs out as it heads through the Canadian Maritimes. And around here, the winds turn back to the south and west. Temperatures will warm back up into the 50s in southwestern Iowa. But it's also going to bring the Gulf of Mexico moisture back up, and we could see some rainfall here on Thursday. It could be light to sometimes moderate. And then as the cold air comes in behind the system early on Friday morning, we could see a wintry mix. But that clears up by midday, and you can see skies will become partly to mostly sunny, with readings in the 30s and 40s across the state. It won't be as cold as this past weekend. And then as we go into Saturday, it starts to warm up again as the winds begin to turn around to the south and west. Upper 30s north and east to maybe low and mid 50s south and west. And you can see a week from today next Sunday, pretty much a zonal flow across the country. Big piece of energy in Hudson Bay, another diving into the Pacific Northwest coast, some energy across the Gulf Coast as well. That could produce some rain down there around in Florida, and a storm's coming into the north and west, and this is one we're going to have to watch as we move into the month of April upcoming. And speaking of the month of April, we go into the extended period on April the 3rd, and here's a system, a trough digging in across the center part of the country, some energy in Missouri and Illinois. And on the lee side of that, the east side of that, we could see a storm system, low pressure center near Indianapolis, and some precipitation back here. Could be in the form of some cold rain or maybe a wintry mix. And this is actually the third straight day. It's going to be the first, second, and third if this is right. And at the end of the forecast on the 7th of April, we have a trough digging in across the Great Lakes. Otherwise, fairly zonal across the country still at this point, so this means temperatures likely near seasonal levels, maybe a bit cooler as this front is moving through. Could bring us some rain, maybe a wintry mix. It's too early to determine that. This is still more than 2 weeks out, and it still could change. The satellite image from last evening, you can still see the subtropical jet coming in through Baja into northern Old Mexico, Texas, and into the mid-south, some clouds to our northwest and some clouds to our east. The watch warning map from last evening, it is so quiet, it's very hard to find anything of note. A freeze watch in Tennessee, some issues in the Gulf Coast, some in the west. Otherwise, it's fairly quiet. QBF chart precipitation over the next 5 days through Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. Could see up to maybe a half to 3/4 of an inch in western and northern Iowa, but this is with 2 systems. Heaviest will be in the north and west and along the Gulf Coast.